Alright, in this video I have two purposes. One of them is to show you my cool coffee mug. It's a thermal coffee mug, but it's also a coffee press. It's very, very handy. Just stick my coffee in there, it's already in there, and then once the water is in there, I just press it down. The only thing that's missing right now is the boiled water. And we got a nice, clear, sunny day right now. It's a perfect chance to try out one of the things that I've done a couple times and it works okay, and it's to make a parabolic reflector to utilize that sunlight to boil some water. And in my past experience it works. It doesn't work great, it doesn't get all the way to boiling temperature, but that's in the past. This time I've got a better thing. So this is, again, second in the series because it's really just a simple hack. We're going to use a windshield reflector again. Something that you can set up in probably about a minute, maybe 2 minutes if there's any difficulties. But instead of the reflector that I had in before, which was all bubbly, I got one that's much more flat. It's a much nicer one. I just happened to find it at the thrift store. Very lucky, exactly when I needed it. And here's what you do. You kind of flip it over, and you can optionally use a chair like this. It's just about the right size. And what I do, there's a little bit of wind that's giving me a problem. I take it like that, and I'm gonna put this around. The wind is bothering me. There's only a little bit of wind, and it's bothersome. Do this, and then flip it around so that it's more like a cone. And now it's more like this. Right? And then to hold it into place, what I need is a rock. I've already prepared a rock. So I just looked around, I found a rock, and there just happens to be one with a little platform on it. I just stick it right there. And what you want to kind of do is you need to get this out of the way. There's a couple things that need to happen. One is you need to aim at the sun. And you can do that. I happen to have a stick here. And what I do is kind of, basically you want to figure out if the sun is shining on there. If it seems a little bit uneven, where like there's a little bit of sun on one side, but not on the other side, then it might mean you need an adjustment. In this case, it needs I see more sun on that side than that side, so to get them even, I'm going to turn it around more this way so there's more sun on that side. So flip it around a little bit. Now it looks about even. It should be that if I stand up, I totally block it out, and I can see that it does. That means that I'm in the way of the sun, and with the meter stick I can see. It's kind of hard because it's like reflecting all over the place, like a hall of mirrors. But if I hold it up, I can see that straight down the middle I see the I see the shadow. If the shadow's off to one side, it means I need to adjust it. So that's just a really simple way to do it. So then you got to get this arranged so that when you put your pot of water in there, it's going to be in the center. Now where did I put my pot of water? Up here. Okay, so you want it to be in the center, and the question is, like, how far down do you want it? Do you want it way down here? You want it way up here? Where exactly is the focus of this very rough parabola shape? And you can figure it out just by sticking your hand in there. It's really hot in here. You can already feel it just roasting. So there's actually quite a range. This is an interesting thing. I saw this online, and what they figured out about this quasi-paraboloid shape really, is that it doesn't have a really tight focus. It has sort of a wide focus. So especially if you have a larger pot, then it'll work. It'll kind of like loosely reflect a bunch of light, sort of like not quite into one spot. It'll be like here, a little bit there, a little bit there, there. So this general area is all kind of hot. So instead of just being one solid point, so this is not bad right here. Right there would be better in this case. That's a little weird because I've done this before and this one seems to reflect. But the thing is, when you every time you do it, it's going to be a little bit different. So you just figure out where it is. Back just a little bit. Oops, I wish this would stick out. Okay, so when you use the fact that it doesn't have to be exact, and then I folded the handles in to make it a little bit easier to stick inside a bag. I'm going to stick it there, and then I'm going to use the same bags. For some reason I can't find my extra turkey bags, so I'm just going to use one of these bags again, and I do know that it fits in here kind of exactly, kind of snug, which is not really important, it's just the fact. And so now there's this label stuff blocking it. I don't know if I should stick it backwards or forward. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to stick it in there. The bottom isn't that important. If you want to get it all the way inside the bag, it's okay. You can experiment with different ways to do it. So stick it in there like that. Keep it balanced. I would like to do this. Alright, so it's not perfectly straight, but I think it's good enough that it will do the job in a rough sort of way. And you can play around with it. You can try to crease it. So you can notice I've kind of like a radial sort of crease. Once you get used to what it's supposed to look like, you can figure out where to crease it. So I only just picked this up last night and just did some experiments with it. Crease there, and yeah, I think it'll work. Cool, so we'll see how long it takes. So this is very exposed to the wind. It's not very good on a windy day, and but it works faster than a solar oven, provided you could get a pretty good pretty good amount of sunlight. Oh, well, of course it's not getting hot if I'm standing in the way. That's one of the things. If you're experimenting, make sure you're standing out of the way so that you're not just blocking the whole thing. So now we just wait and see. I've gotten it to boil. Like theoretically, a really good parabolic reflector should be able to get your water boiling about as fast as sticking it on like a propane stove. With this, it's a little bit, it's more of a hack really. It's a cool shape, it's really easy to set up, but it doesn't have as much pinpoint power. But it will still do a job that will be faster than a solar oven. That would take, you know, you got to leave your water in there for 20 minutes to half an hour, 2 hours even for it to warm up, depending on how good it is. In this case, it does a pretty good job of concentrating it. It will get your water maybe not boiling, unless it's just really, really good. Unless it's a right day, a lot of sun, and a perfect reflector shape that just happened, you know, to come out in the right circumstances. Maybe you can play around with the geometry of it to get it to work really well. Up to you. But just with this, you should be able to get something that will warm you up a lot faster, maybe in the course of like 10 minutes while you're doing something else. All right, so pretty cool, right? So a lot of talking, but again, how long could this take to set up? You pull the thing out, unwrap it, put it in the shape, stick the rock on there, put that on there. It could take less than a minute to set this whole system up. So I'd say that's pretty good for just waking up and saying, hey, I could use some coffee while you're getting dressed. Oh, I almost forgot. How about a post video? I'm going to check on it now. And got a thermometer with me to see how I did. It's really hot. You know, if I touch it, I'm burning my fingers. I don't know why I'm not doing my left hand. So it fits so snug it's really hard to get off. It really would be better to use an oven bag. So I'm going to make sure I find them. Of course, I need them for my demonstrate building let's take the lid off. Take this out. It's not boiling. I didn't expect it to boil. It's going up, 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 up. Still going. 160. It is steaming. It's about 165. About 168. Yeah, it's definitely hot. That's burn your fingers temperature, and it's definitely hot enough to make coffee. So that's exactly what I'll do. I'm sure probably Starbucks expects that the temperature is a little bit hotter than that. I don't know what their official temperature is. So if you're doing gourmet coffee, I could have left it on there a little bit. It's obviously working. So I've left it a half an hour, but who wants to wait? Just pop the lid. And then usually I'll shake it up a little bit. Be careful. Sometimes I press it down too hard and it splashes up through there. Yep. Ah, too hot. It works really well. So there we go. Pseudo parabolic solar reflector.